Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're just going to do a walk through a very typical Mexico City neighborhood. Just so we get our bearings, today we're in the borough of Benito Juarez, which Mexico City is divided into 16 boroughs. Each one has their own mayor. And they all enjoy quite a lot of autonomy. So between, from one borough to the next, you can truly have a lot of different rules and costs. And, it can be little things like having parking meters on the street to not having any, to the number of police and schools and fire and all that kind of different stuff. So like I said, it varies from one borough to the next, and then within each borough they're divided into colonies. Just so you know, this truck driving by and that song, I will tell you after. So those drive through every neighborhood all day long throughout Mexico City, and they are looking to buy old microwaves, washing machines, mattresses, literally any home item you may have, like appliance, computers, anything. They buy them from you very, pennies on the dollar, and then they fix them up and resell them. And it's quite a big business here, apparently, because they are driving through constantly. So before the truck drove by, we were talking about the city being divided into 16 different boroughs, and each borough is divided into colonies, which I think it's more just naming a neighborhood so you know where you are. So today we are in the borough of Benito Juarez, and we are in the colony of Vertiz Narvarte. And just for your reference, we are sort of walking southwest, and that direction is the airport and more sort of, say, working class neighborhoods. From here, the airport's about 5 kilometers, 3 miles. Down there, if you drove straight through, eventually you'd end up at the Zocalo, so the center of Mexico City, where the colonial Mexico City started. Garibaldi, the Plaza of Mariachis, and the presidential office, and just sort of the heart of Mexico City. If you drove that way about 11 kilometers or 6 miles, you'd run into the very fashionable and hip neighborhoods of Condesa and Roma from the movie. And then if we went due west, you'd run into Polanco or Santa Fe, Lomas, some of the more upscale, very, very upscale neighborhoods of the city. And I'd say where we are now, Benito Juarez, this borough, just so you know, I think it has a little over 400,000 people, so it's big. Generally this has one of the highest standard of living of any borough in the city. It's I would say somewhere between middle class to parts of it even upper middle class. It's nice, it's safe. And we'll just take a quick walk down a couple of these streets here. So as you can see, most of these buildings are quite low rise, no more than 3 or 4 stories. And the reason for that is if you build any higher, now I don't know all the architectural laws or anything, but if you build higher than, I think it's 4 stories, there are a ton of regulations that have to be adhered to even more so than 4 stories or under, and that's due to building codes. And as you may or may not know, this city is well known for all the earthquakes. So once you start getting over a certain height, then those building codes become even stricter. I'm not an architect. I don't know all the reasoning behind that. You would think that a building could fall down just as easily at 3 stories as it does at 10 stories, but that's sort of the laws of Mexico City. And over here, I'm not sure how well you can see that tree with the purple leaves. It's jacaranda season here in Mexico City, which as you can see, it's a beautiful day, and it's about 25 Celsius, 77 Fahrenheit. So spring has certainly arrived here, and you know, the weather is beautiful as always here in Mexico City. There's a short, heavy rainy season, and a few months out of the year you get a bit of rain, but right now we are completely in the dry season, and sunny every day, and usually around a high between 75 and 80 Fahrenheit, and 25, 27 Celsius. So it is a nice time of the year to be here. I always like this home here with this massive cactus out front. Who knows how long that's been growing. Now, if you're coming to rent or live here, I would say you always want to check your surroundings. I mean, zoning laws, I don't know if they don't exist or they just don't adhere to them, but that's a gem right there, literally right in the middle of a neighborhood. And I've seen factories in neighborhoods and just anything. So if you're looking to rent an apartment or buy an apartment or a house, you know, check the surroundings, because the other thing is you can have those sort of farmer markets, the street markets that come for 1 day a week. In Mexico they call them the tianguis, but 5 or 6 in the morning, and they are loud. So if you're a morning person, you don't want to be, you know, right in front of those on a Thursday. Or if you're a night person, you don't want to be you know, right next to a bar. Like I said, we're in the middle of a neighborhood, and then right here we have some sort of office building. So you just have to be careful about where you're renting and all of that. But most of these buildings here that looks like maybe a separated house. This one an apartment building, and they go back quite deep, so it might look small in the front, but it can go very far back. And most of these places either have some sort of parking garage attached, or like that one right there, that house, you can see a car parked in that garage. But a lot of the newer ones will have underground parking. So again, you just don't know, looking at the front of them, what, you know, how big they are, how deep they are, what they consist of. So, you know, most of these that we're looking on this street, this is kind of an older street, well established, safe area, and just that way you'd run into what they call Deer Park or Parque de los Venados. And then if you keep going down this street straight down, in about 10 minutes or so you'd run into Coyoacan, which is the home of the Frida Kahlo Museum, and lots of art and good food. But this is a pretty typical neighborhood, although every neighborhood in Mexico City is different. Like this one, when you look, the sidewalks are huge, it's quite quiet and leafy, where other neighborhoods, I mean, you are literally taking your life into your hands when you cross the street. So this is just one little neighborhood. I'll do a few of these walks around the city to kind of show you just regular non-touristy stuff. I mean, this is just a typical day here in Mexico City. And again, talking about zoning, there's a house and an apartment, and then right next door an automotive repair shop. So it could be anything like the noise factor or the comfort factor or pollution or whatever it is that might bother you with any shop next to you, or store or business or school. Those can be very loud at 7 o'clock in the morning. You just have to really, really be careful about, do your research on where you're going to live. And like I said, this street is full of fairly older buildings that have been around, mostly houses and apartments. We'll do some other walkthroughs where the homes are more newer and more modern, I guess. But these older homes, you can get a great deal. I would say if you were asking rent for maybe a 2-bedroom in this neighborhood, 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bath, can go from anywhere. Just this small area that I'm showing you could go anywhere from, let's say, $500 to $800 a month. I mean, you could even find older ones for maybe $300 or $400 a month, but typically I think you're looking at $500 to $800 or $900 a month. This is kind of an up and coming neighborhood, good location, very near Metro, the subway system. So yeah, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, probably between $500 and $900. And like we talked about, the zoning, again, there's a bank right there. Right here's a nail shop. And then you have a huge street there, División del Norte, which is a north-south artery that crosses the city. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and we'll do a few of these walkthroughs and try to show you a few different neighborhoods over the next few months.